So what else you got for us, Cooner? You came all the way down from Orlando. All these years later. Oh, let's talk about just some of the things.
The
that you
3%
know
man.
this.
All right, here we go. We're going to dig deeper in my personal life, right?
Let's dig
For the rest
deeper.
of the world to hear. All right, no problem. Okay, you have a particular
A
question?
Well, what's your experience? Because obviously,
My
friendship
world?
wise,
Right.
it spans beyond your wife
Right.
to even before that. This is even before I was a coach and I was doing this full time. I was just doing it to help originally myself out, and then later my friends, people that worked for me, my dad, teaching them these things. So, what was your experience?
Give me a
What was the
specific
difference
question,
that
please.
made the difference? Because typically, you would call me when something had gone sideways. I got to get this girl back.
We're talking about relationships. Okay,
I got to
got
get
it.
this girl back.
So, yeah, during my, what is it called?
Formative
Last
years.
15, I don't know how many
formative years.
decades of dating around and being in relationships on and off. I was never really satisfied in the majority of my partners I chose. I was a very visual guy. Whatever looks the best to me at that time was what I was pursuing. Pretty much successfully because I'm an immigrant. I'm a guy with an accent. I was dressing nicely. I had nice cars, things
And
of
you
that
were
nature.
cute. And you were
I
cute.
was pretty hot, yeah.
Yeah, that makes
So-
a big
so-
difference. Big difference.
I
He was
still
pretty
consider
shredded back in the
myself-
day.
Yeah, I was half of the size. I was working out. I was taking more care of myself, body-wise per se, not mentally, because I had more time in my hand, but anyways, time is a matter of discussion, but I make priorities to keep my body and mind fit more as I do these days because now I have a family, I have kids, I have different obligations I didn't have when I was younger. So anyways, during the different dating years, I occasionally met a woman who was a big challenge to myself, which I could not get maybe to the level I wanted to be to perhaps keep her around long term. I got to the relationships I wanted to be, then I got like, hey, I got it, I'm going to the next one, not realizing that maybe one or the others I could have been more happier or longer in a relationship if I would have done different decisions on being around that person or treating him in a different, more respectful way per se. Anyways, so I went through multiple breakups over before I met my wife, years prior to that, and I didn't know what the hell was wrong.
Over
What-
the last 20 years, basically.
The
if you
last
think
20
back to your
years,
first,
okay. Well, it's
your
not like I
first
had
wife,
20 girls who I didn't know what the hell to do. It was just an
It was the ones
isolated
you
amount.
really liked.
The ones I really
you-
liked at that time wasn't really, I found out later that was the reason. It's just the not being accepted or not being, what's the word I'm trying to say? Being able to get the same out of that relationship, what you envisioned, bothered me a lot. And anyway, so I had a few hiccups, a few girls I really liked, so I thought at that time, with the exception of one, and I sought advice. Whatever I didn't get the result I was seeking. So Corey has always been a very outgoing person about relationships and what needed to be done to get certain results, which sounded so out of line, not making any sense. So I say, what the fuck? What do I want to do? Nothing else works. May as well apply the system or the algorithm, whatever you want to call it. And I did it based on his advice, and it worked. So a couple of relationships which ended up badly, I was able to regain, not to the effect or status I wanted to be, but then realized that wasn't the one for me. So I did all this work to get him back, but this is not who I want. So the last time this actually happened was with my current wife. She was a very determined woman at the time. We were casually dating. She was my best friend. But I was never ready to go much further to where there's a solid, honest relationship in place. So after a while, she says, you know what, screw this, Andy. You're not giving me what I put in. Have a nice day, so fuck off. So I don't like the word "fuck off." I don't want people to walk away from me. For me, Andy Kunit, I mean,
Rejection breeds
rejection
obsession.
is awful. You know, so
That's what
work
made you
dare
come
you.
back. That's what made you come back to
How
her
dare
when she
you.
told you
well,
to F off. So
exactly.
it's
It's
The
like,
strongest
oh,
negotiating
I've tried
position is
everything
being able to walk
stupid.
away and mean it.
Yeah, absolutely. And she's like, I'm back in New York, have a nice fucking day. I don't care, I'm dating other guys. Like, what? So I could not. It drove me insane. So it's like, who do you call? The fucking master, right? So what do I do? How quickly can this be done? Like in 2 hours or something? So obviously it took much longer. But it over time, I don't know how much the time was. We kind of got back into talking, and
I remember there were 4 different breakups with you guys.
I don't remember
Because you would
that.
date for a while, and then you'd be like, "Ah, fuck it," and then you would say something really bad and just make a mess of it. And then 2 or 3 months later, you're like, I have to get this girl back. I was like, 3 months ago, you're like, thank God I'm free again, And you're like, I have to get her back. She's my soulmate. I was like,
It was a big yo-yo effect for maybe for a year or something, and it did not do anybody any good. It kind of brand marks you, vice versa, her as much as me. But the last time I did it was the worst and the most difficult time because the parents by then says, you know what, fuck off. Don't talk to my daughter. Don't come here, tell us this story and the other. I remember sitting in New York and, kind of, I don't beg, but I kind of sold myself to them why she should be with me, why rather not.
based upon the proper preparation.
Of course, certainly. I did my homework that time. And it was a
He
very
was a good,
skeptical...
good student.
Very skeptical, conversation, and I know the dad and the mom did not agree with it. They didn't believe anything I had to say, and they basically said, you know what, not welcome. But her daughter felt differently about it, so we were able to come
I have
back
to say
together.
something about Andy's wife. I remember when they first met, and this was like, I want to say around 2008, 2009. You were off somewhere talking to somebody else. It was myself, Mark, and Dave who did the infomercial we did, called from, what was it?
Downtown?
From Dud to Stud in 4 days or whatever.
Right.
And she was like, I'm gonna make him mine. She was determined. And I'd never. All the girls, your ex-wife, everybody else, none of the women were that determined. And it was funny. Mark he's going, she's gonna marry Andy. She's like, the girl was determined, but he jerked her around and stuff, and eventually she stood up to him and didn't put up his bullshit and put him in his place, and so they would break apart and then get back together, and then eventually it's like you were the last guy that I ever thought would get married and have kids.
Well, last time we got back together, I was still in that one-bedroom apartment I sold 3 years prior. I was renting for $750 at that time, and she went pregnant. The minute she went pregnant,
the goalie.
it closed every door which was open for any other thoughts or opportunities, whichever way you want to call it. It was, this is it. That's all it is, because
The man whoring days were over.
right. Yeah. So from there
Nick's
we went.
good.
We went to a 3-story townhome. Then the next baby came like 18 months later, 2 years later, and we went into a house, and we're still in this house. We remodeled it. We're remodeling the pool now, but best decision ever I made was, being committed to this woman. And we were engaged the minute we moved into the 3-story townhome with our firstborn. Took a while to get married, but it was never the right time because we're building a business. And with the building a business...
You were engaged for a lot of years, right?
Oh, yeah. I got married on the day after my 50th birthday.
And so you were engaged for, 5-6 years or something like that, weren't you?
Yeah.
The
About 6
man
years.
took his time.
Shit.
That's the important thing.
Not my prayer. It's like, hey, we're getting married.
Remember what we were talking, Chunky? Slow and stale, like no, I'm sorry. Slow
Slow and steady.
Slow and stale, slow and steady.
Slow and steady.
That's a huge difference.
Slow and
Nailed
steady.
it. Nailed it, Corey.
What the fuck?
I nailed
Stale?
it.
Slow and steady wins the race.
So, all right, let me
Slow and
start over.
deliberate.
We can
Yeah.
we can cut this out. Slow and stale. Like slow and stale.
What does stale even mean?
Slow and stale, like a snail.
Shut up. Slow and steady, like the river that never grows stale. No hurry, no rush. There we go. I got it.
Never
Got it
marry a
that time.
lush.
Yeah. Anyways.
Meine Güte.
So there we are. That's what happened back then, and we are still there. I still love my wife till forever, and we have 2 beautiful kids, a beautiful new dog, and continue to grow the real estate business.
Well, congratulations to her and to you.
Well, thank you, ma'am.
That's wonderful.
And they
Appreciate it.
lived
Nice.
happily ever after.
Well, we hope
Hopefully.
so during these
So far, so good.
questionable times, right?
You guys, I have to admit, you exceeded my expectations.
Oh.
I did not expect it. But I'm not surprised. Knowing her, I'm not surprised. Knowing you, I'm definitely surprised.
I would like to know, how do you feel about women who like dating? When I was single, I hated to date. Did not like dating at all, at all, at all.
Clarify
was-
dating.
Well,
Multiple partners.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
dating this guy or having a date, you know what I mean?
This
You're
word
not
always
really,
confused me in this country. Dating, what does dating actually mean? You going without them for a drink, for a cup
Yeah.
of coffee, for a dinner, or you...
Yes, say it. No, none
hitting
of
the
that. No,
set.
no.
Okay, well
None
then,
of that, no.
because dating to me don't work. It's right.
You know,
go
going
out. The
out
only
to
reason I go
meeting
out with somebody is
people
like
for
I want to end
coffee.
up in there somewhere, right? So at the end of the day, dating is experiencing, finding who you are attracted to, who is on your same level. I think there's nothing wrong with it.
I hated that. I couldn't stand. I
I
just
loved
don't
it.
like, don't like that. I just never. I would never want to be like on a dating app to say, oh, go
No.
out and meet this guy for coffee or meet that guy for coffee. I don't like that at all.
We all did it. I mean, I did it.
I've never done online dating.
Or the Match.com back 10,
I've
50
never
years
done-
ago.
I mean, I was married for 22 years, right? Lost my wife about 3 years ago. Back in the dating scene, I guess somewhere between then and now, and it was rough early on.